Om Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Gurun Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sagana Raghunatanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhano Sute Devi Pranamami Haripriye Vancha kalpatarubhascha kripa sindhubhyev cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasa Adi Gaura Bhaktavrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Okay. So we will continue from where we left. It is text number 39 of the second chapter of Bhagavad Gita. Eshathe bihitha sankhye buddhir yoge tva imam shunu buddhya yukto yaya partha karma bandham prahashyasi. Thus far, I have described this knowledge to you through analytical study. Now listen as I explain in terms of working without fruitive results. O son of Pritha, when you act in such knowledge, you can free yourself from the bondage of work. As we had yesterday also were discussing this particular aspect, that by working without attachment to the results, to give up the fruits of one's activities, so one can actually become free from the bondage. Free from the bondage means there is no more sinful reactions, right? So a person can become free from bondage. So this is how powerful it is to work without attachment to the results. First of all, the work in itself, when we say karma, immediately it points to the work according to the scriptures. Work not according to the scriptures is no completely out of the system. No, then working according to the scriptures and not attached to the results. So this is what will purify a person and take him to the point of knowledge, right? So otherwise, till the time we are attached to the results of our work, we will be like completely, we will not be able to get the knowledge. We will not be able to. That's not the platform on which we can we can attain knowledge, right? So that will eternally keep us in this bondage, eternally keep us tied up to this material world and things like that. Okay, let's see the purport. According to Nirukti or Vedic dictionary, Sankhya means that which Sankhya means that which describes things in detail, and Sankhya refers to that philosophy which describes the real nature of the soul, and yoga involves controlling the senses. So like Sankhya means, when there is Sankhya philosophy, that means we have in detail analysis of everything that exists in the whole creation. So when we analyze everything in its true perspective, automatically the Supreme Lord is understood, and automatically the devotional service to the Supreme Lord is understood. Everything in real perspective, it will come out. So Sankhya is a way of analytical study. So, and here Krishna is mentioning Yeshate Bihita Sankhye Buddhir Yoge Tva Imam Shrunu. So like Krishna is telling, till now I was talking about the Sankhya. No, through analytical study I was talking about. Now listen to me. Uh, so what is he telling? Buddhir Yoge Tva Imam Shrunu Buddhya Yukto Yata Yaya Partha Karma Bandham Prahashyasi. So like one has to be one has to use his intelligence. By intelligence he has to work and dovetail his work in Krishna consciousness, right? So, and here specifically Prabhupada actually translates it as working without fruitive results, right? Okay, so let's continue the purport. And yoga involves controlling the senses. Arjuna's proposal not to fight was based on sense gratification. Forgetting his prime duty, he wanted to cease fighting because he thought that by not killing his relatives and kinsmen, he would be happier than by enjoying the kingdom after conquering his cousins and brothers, the sons of Dhritarashtra. In both ways, the basic principle were for sense gratification. Happiness derived from conquering them and happiness derived from seeing kinsmen alive are both on the basis of personal sense gratification, even at the sacrifice of wisdom and duty. Krishna therefore wanted to explain to Arjuna that by killing the body of his grandfather, he would not be killing the soul proper. And he explained that all individual persons, including the Lord himself, are eternal individuals. They were individuals in the past, they are individuals in the present, and they will continue to remain individuals in future because all of us are individuals, individual souls eternally. We simply change our bodily dress in different manners, but actually we keep our individuality even after liberation from the bondage of material dress. An analytical study of the soul and the body has been graphically explained by Lord Krishna. So this is all post-mortem, whatever has been done. So Prabhupada is substantiating the aspect of Krishna explained the Sankhya philosophy, that is soul and the body concept that Krishna explained. Right. So here we see that one aspect that uh, Krishna wants to highlight here is that all your proposals were on the platform of sense gratification. You wanted to see your relatives live, why, for your sense gratification, and then you didn't want, you don't want to kill them, and then enjoyment of the kingdom would not be a very happy thing for you because every all the arguments that you were giving, everything is based on sense gratification. So in fact, this particular thing will be explained in Bhagavad Gita later on. Sukham atyantikam yatyad buddhi grahyam atindriyam, right? So sukham or happiness we will get, the real happiness is beyond the senses, atindriyam, right? So it is not within the sense gratification, it is not within the purview of sense gratification. So the real sense gratification you will not get by the way of fighting, sorry, by the way of sense gratification. The real happiness you will get only if you cross the boundary of sense gratification. So that is when you will get real happiness. So that's what Krishna wants to start imparting, that kind of a knowledge. It's a very, very essential knowledge. This, it is not, at this point, let us forget about, what is karma. Basically, karma yoga, the karma definition we gave is working according to the scriptures. Definitely that we should try to do whatever we are trying to do, we should try to do according to the scriptures. But then if we are working, if we are doing any work for that matter as of now, if we are attached to the results of that work, then it is very, very pathetic and very miserable and things like that. So this is what is the first thing, after explaining the Sankhya. So Krishna comes to this aspect, and it is very, very important aspect that Krishna is going to explain, that working without attachment to the results. So if a person can come to this level, it is not just, it's not so easy. A person has to practice like the chanting process and then studying the scriptures and doing devotional service with a lot of prayer and things like that. Then he can gradually come to this level of working without the results, working without attachment to the results. At least theoretically and externally we should start practicing, and from internally we will start getting it over a period of time. And it's a very, very important milestone in our Krishna consciousness. We can actually look out for this milestone. So we should we should develop this attitude of working without attachment to the results. That's a very, very important thing. And the moment we do this thing, the moment we detach ourselves from the results of our activities, we will see a great deal of happiness deep from within, right? So this is such an amazing principle actually. Okay, so with all these things Krishna graphically explained. Here Prabhupada is just giving this portion where he's just appreciating that point that Krishna explained the Sankhya philosophy. In the second chapter, just before this section, we saw the whole lot of this one about the soul and the body and the difference between them and all. So that's technically the Sankhya philosophy. And let's move further a little bit. And this descriptive knowledge of the soul and the body from different angles of vision has been described here as Sankhya in terms of Nirukti dictionary. This Sankhya has nothing to do with the Sankhya philosophy of atheist Kapila. So there is Shad Darshanas are there. So six kinds of darshanas, six kinds of philosophies in Vedic body of literatures. And we have this Vaisheshika, Sankhya, then Vedanta, and different kinds of this one is there. So there, one of the darshanas, this Sankhya that is mentioned, is actually atheistic Sankhya. So that is propounded by a Kapila, who's an atheist, who describes this. So, but then, before that itself, the Supreme Lord Kapila, he describes Sankhya philosophy, and that will be there. We will be studying in the like Srimad Bhagavatam about that Sankhya philosophy. So, but then that is also included as one of the darshanas or one of the philosophies that exist. So, Vedic body of literatures has a whole lot of philosophies, atheistic philosophies and impersonal philosophies and the personal philosophies. It's a whole body of this one actually. So that's why anyone who's studying the Vedic body of literatures have to be very, very fortunate and guided by somebody who knows the things, right? So like dharmasya tattvam nihitam guhayam mahajano yena katasya panta. So until unless we follow in the footsteps of Mahajans, it is very, very difficult to decode the Vedic philosophy, right? So here we see that this philosophy, which comes under the category of Shad Darshanas like Nyaya, Vaisheshika, Sankhya, and Vedanta, and things like that, right? So that Sankhya is mentioned as it is described by atheistic Kapila. Okay, long before the impostor Kapila's Sankhya, the Sankhya philosophy was expounded in the Srimad Bhagavatam by the true Lord Kapila, the incarnation of Lord Krishna, who explained it to his mother Devahuti. It is clearly explained by him that the Purusha or Supreme Lord is active and that he creates by looking over the Prakriti. This is accepted in the Vedas and in the Gita. The description in the Vedas indicate that the Lord glanced over Prakriti or nature and impregnated it with atomic individual souls. All these individuals are working in material world for sense gratification, and under the spell of material energy they are thinking of being enjoyers. This mentality is dragged to the last point of liberation when the living entity wants to become one with the Lord. This is the last snare of Maya or sense gratificatory illusion, and it is only after many births of such sense gratificatory activities that the great soul surrenders unto Vasudev, Lord Krishna, thereby fulfilling the search after the ultimate truth. Arjuna has already accepted Krishna as his spiritual master by surrendering himself unto him. Shishyasteham shadimam tvam prapannam. Consequently, Krishna will now tell him about the working process in Buddhi Yoga or Karma Yoga, or in other words, the practice of devotional service only for sense gratification of the Lord. Right? So it is very important. Like sense gratification, as we mentioned, sukham atyantikam yattad buddhi grahyam atindriyam. So the real sense gratification is beyond the real happiness is beyond sense gratification, and that is buddhi yoga. That means that is working for the sense gratification of the Lord. If we stop our sense gratification, we do sense gratification for the Lord, right? This buddhi yoga is clearly explained in chapter 10, verse 10, as being direct communion with the Lord who's sitting as Paramatma in everyone's heart. But such communion does not take place without devotional service. One who is therefore situated in devotional or transcendental loving service of the Lord, or in other words, in Krishna consciousness, attains to this stage of Buddhi Yoga by the special grace of the Lord. A very, very important point to note: we cannot advance in Krishna consciousness, we cannot make any progress in Krishna consciousness without this special aspect, that is the special grace of the Lord. So we are trying to do this study, we are trying to practice Krishna consciousness, we are trying to do so many various things in the devotional service, but it's all depends on the grace of the Lord. So we are just trying to attract the grace of the Lord by hearing about Him, by chanting His names, by preaching His messages. Everything we are doing just to attract the grace of the Lord. And by the grace of the Lord, we will advance in Krishna consciousness. We will attain our ultimate goal, destination, everything, right? The Lord says, therefore, that only to those who are always engaged in devotional service out of transcendental love does he award pure knowledge of devotion in love. It's a very important thing. If we are asking for grace of the Lord, then when does the Lord give grace? So Lord mentions this. Tesham satata yuktanam. Satata means like all the time. Yuktanam means engaged. Tesham satata yuktanam. No, bhajatam priti purvakam. So like no, he is engaged in devotional service with lot of love and devotion all the time. He is engaged, right? So for such a person, the Lord actually chooses and he gives us grace, right? So that is what we want to do. We want to be always engaged in devotional service just to attract the grace of the Lord. No, so Lord is very, very clear about this particular aspect. So in that way, the devotee can reach Him easily in the ever blissful kingdom of God. Right. Thus, the Buddhi Yoga mentioned in this verse is devotional service of the Lord, and the word Sankhya mentioned herein has nothing to do with the atheistic Sankhya Yoga enunciated by impostor Kapila. One should not therefore misunderstand that Sankhya Yoga mentioned herein has any connection with the atheistic Sankhya, nor did that philosophy have any influence during that time, nor would Lord Krishna care to mention such godless philosophical speculations. Right? So that Sankhya, the atheistic Sankhya, it just explains everything except God. No, so that's why it is atheistic. So okay, real Sankhya philosophy is described by Lord Kapila in Srimad Bhagavatam, but even that Sankhya has nothing to do with the current topics. Here, Sankhya means analytical description of the body and the soul. Lord Krishna made an analytical description of the soul just to bring Arjuna to the point of Buddhi Yoga or Bhakti Yoga. Therefore, Lord Krishna's Sankhya and Lord Kapila's Sankhya, as described in Bhagavatam, are one and the same because both of them, yeah, so they are all Bhakti Yoga. Lord Krishna said, therefore, that only the less intelligent class of men make a distinction between Sankhya Yoga and Bhakti Yoga. Sankhya Yoga Pruthak Bhala Pravadhanti Na Panditaha. Of course, atheistic Sankhya Yoga has nothing to do with Bhakti Yoga, yet the unintelligent claim that the atheistic Sankhya Yoga is referred to in Bhagavad Gita. So, this out of the Shad Darshanas, what the Sankhya comes? No, that is not what is described in Bhagavad Gita. No, it is a stepping stone to Bhakti. No, this Sankhya, what is mentioned in Bhagavad Gita. Okay. One should therefore understand that Buddhi Yoga means to work in Krishna consciousness in the full bliss and knowledge of devotional service. One who works for the satisfaction of the Lord only, however difficult such work may be, is working under the principles of Buddhi Yoga and finds himself always in transcendental bliss. By such transcendental engagement, one achieves all transcendental understanding automatically by the grace of the Lord, and thus his liberation is complete in itself without his making extraneous endeavors to acquire knowledge. There is much difference between the work in Krishna consciousness and work for fruitive results, especially in the matter of sense gratification for achieving results in terms of family or material happiness. Buddhi Yoga is therefore the transcendental quality of work that we perform. So sometimes people ask, "Oh, we have no attachment to no family and relatives and things like that. How can we suddenly give up those attachments?" We are not asked to give up those attachments. We have to act in those relationships just as a matter of duty. And somebody may say, "Yeah, like we are not there in that high platform where no we will not be affected by those relationships too much." So then no, that means like we are diseased condition. So if we are in diseased condition, pain will be there. So we have to tolerate the pain. So till the time the disease is cured. So and how will the disease be cured? The disease will be cured by practice of Bhakti Yoga in a steady, standard way. Chanting 16 rounds of Hare Krishna mantra and following the regulative principles and reading and studying these kind of scriptures regularly. So over a period of time, when we do it with sincerity and a desire to get the disease cured, So then we will get the disease cured, and we will really be able to reciprocate with everyone, with family, with the rest of the world, everyone in an appropriate way without attachment. And that kind of a relationship will give a lot of happiness. So relationships with a lot of attachment materially is only a source of problem. No, it's only a source of misery. No, forget about they are happy with us or not. So first of all, we will not be happy with anybody. So that's the point. Okay, so I'll stop here, and then we will get back again tomorrow. So since we have some meetings, like we are not doing 1 hour session now, so this whole week it will be like this till Friday, and from Saturday onwards again we will be back to normal. Hare Krishna. Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Krishna.